so that we may concentrate on you and what you are telling us. Help us, Lord, to be obedient to your word. Help us, Lord, to behold wondrous things out of your word. Be with us now, we ask in Jesus' name. Amen. Today, I might just move this so you can see. Apart from being Pentecost Sunday, today is also part of May Mission Month with Global Interaction, or the Baptist Church's missionary arm. And we were hoping to have a special guest speaker. We've had several missionary speakers over the time to basically concentrate on what's happening in the Baptist work. And Helen and I got talking and thought, well, seeing I've got to go to other churches and tell them about the mission experience we had in China, and that, why don't I do it here? So, you haven't got anyone special, you've just got me. So right now we're going to see a short video about the work and the history of the Baptist Missionary Society, and you'll be pleased to know the person telling the story is definitely much better looking than me. Thanks, Andrew.
There is a legend that is told of a boy who lived on an isolated house on a hill. One thing fascinated him. Each night he would stare into the darkness and see a light. It was far away, but this sign of life gave him hope. One day he decided to go in search of the source of the light. It was a long and lonely walk, and it was already dark before he reached his destination. The light came from another small, isolated house. Tired and hungry, the boy knocked on the door and explained his search for the mysterious light. "I know," replied the woman who answered the door. "I have seen it too, and it gives me hope as well." She pointed back in the direction from which he had come. There, on the horizon, was a shining light, a light from the boy's own house, a sign of life in the darkness. God is a relational God, and He created us to be in community, to learn from, share our lives with, and be inspired by others. The light that we see in the lives of those around us can be encouraging, motivating, and life-giving for us. God created us to be moved by others. I spend a lot of time with people who are exploring a call to cross-cultural mission. It's amazing how often the stories of others, whether they be famous history makers or people living next door, are critical motivators for mission. Take William Carey, an impoverished shoemaker living in 18th century England and an unlikely candidate for greatness. He grew up in poverty. He made boots for a living to support his family. However, his interest in the world was sparked when he read Captain Cook's Voyages, and he integrated this new knowledge with the biblical perspective. He became convinced that foreign mission was actually the responsibility of the church. Now, this idea was revolutionary. At the time, most people believed that the Great Commission was only given to the apostles. Therefore, sharing Jesus with others was no concern of theirs. So when Carey presented his ideas to a group of ministers, he was quickly shut down. Their actual response was, when God pleases to convert the heathen, He will do it without any help from us. But Carey refused to be silenced. If anything, it stirred him up even more. He managed to convince some of them to take cross-cultural mission seriously, give generously out of the little finances that they had, and form the first ever Baptist Missionary Society. Carey's next 40 years were spent on the other side of the world, doing groundbreaking translation, education, and mission work. His years were filled with both success and great suffering. Carey preached and lived out his now famous words: "Expect great things from God. attempt great things for God. But it was not just in England where Carey's influence was felt. He is known today as the father of modern missions. One author notes that his life profoundly illustrates the limitless potential of ordinary individuals, more than any other individual in modern history. He stirred the imagination of the Christian world and showed by his own humble example what could and should be done to bring people to Christ. The Baptist Missionary Society that began with a few of Carey's friends is still going strong today and has inspired thousands of cross-cultural workers to share Jesus with people all around the globe. Our story, the Australian Baptist story, began about 125 years ago in Adelaide. 5 single women, all in their early 20s, felt a desire to serve God on the Indian subcontinent. Church leaders at the time debated whether these women could actually do a ministry which was usually reserved for men, and they balked at the idea of women travelling unaccompanied. If these women didn't go into the homes of isolated women living in India's segregated society, then they would never have a chance to hear about Jesus. Their churches raised the £150 needed for their expenses each year, and at their farewell service in 1885, a preacher told the story of Jesus feeding thousands with just a few loaves of bread. The women became affectionately known as the 5 barley loaves, and today are icons of pioneering Baptist mission. Many women as well as men have followed, and it has now grown to a large movement of Australians serving God around the world. The legends of the 5 barley loaves and others like them would not be famous if it weren't for those who followed them. Their significance lies in their influence. People reading their books and letters, hearing their testimonies from the pews, listening to their stories along the grapevine. People just like us, being moved to respond, to act, to give and to go. Passion is contagious. These stories and hundreds of others show that God calls ordinary people to be involved in mission. It's not reserved for the super spiritual, theological greats, linguistic, professional or academic elites. Yet it is reserved for those who hear and respond to the call of God, through prayer, in discussion with friends, in reading the scriptures, and paying attention to those niggling feelings inside.
It's those niggling feelings inside that gets to us all. There are many works going across the world that we are involved in. It's interesting that probably, apart from the Catholic Church or the Baptists as a Protestant movement, are the ones who are serving in the majority of the mission fields. It's difficult sometimes in some of the mission fields because where we're working, we can't say too much because it puts the work at risk, puts people's lives at risk, and potentially stops the work from going ahead. We know of the work in Indonesia amongst those whom we support. We know of the work in Africa. I don't know about you, but until I went to China, I didn't know anything about the work that was being done in China. And so I'm going to talk to you today about the work that is occurring in China, and it's known as Project CAWH605. Remember that? And it's about learning English and cultural centre in Central Asia. Now, Central Asia, to most of us, could be Iran, Iraq, or wherever, but it is actually on the Mongolian border in China. Let's have a look. The place is known as Yinchuan City, and that's the People's Square, or, well, not quite the People's Square. Probably a misnomer, but it's the town square. And as you can see there, they've still got a photograph of Mousey Hill. In the centre of it all, it's the place where the buses stop and start, and where people just tend to congregate. Where those stairs are, they're just behind it. You can walk down below, and there's a huge shopping centre. To the left, that side anyway, is the main CBD of Yinchuan. And it's a wonderful city, it's a pretty city. You actually see the sky. In other parts of China, you can't see the sky. I forget who I was talking to, they came out and they said to me that they were over in China and they were showing pictures from home. And they said, "What did you do with the sky?" And the lady said, "What are you talking about?" They said, "It's blue." Normally you see a grey sky. But that's Yinchuan City. And for us, in the work for the Baptists, Yinchuan City is a very strategic spot. Next slide. It's the capital city of Ningxia, the Hui, H-U-I, autonomous region. It's a bit like the Northern Territory. Although it's a sort of a state or an autonomous region, it is still controlled by the federal government. And it's only a small town. There's a population of 2 million people. It's like Sydney, but it's one of the smallest towns, cities, as a capital city in particular, like a region, 2 million people. And it's a very strategic place to work amongst the Hui. Now, it's interesting then, the Hui people are Muslim. The Muslims in China tend to have come from Arabia. And whilst they're known, I guess, as Muslims, they are Muslims not by religion so much, but Muslim by heritage. They're probably more Ishmaelites rather than Muslims. And there's a whole variety of them, like you've got a variety of Protestant churches. Now, as you know, Ishmael was the son of Abraham, the first son of Abraham. The second son of Abraham, Isaac, is the one which the covenant has passed through. But we tend to forget and realise that the Bible speaks very clearly, very carefully, and very specifically that even Ishmael is blessed. It talks of Abraham being the father of many nations, not just the nations via Isaac, but also the nations via Ishmael. And so, I guess we don't mind and have an appreciation of the work amongst Jewish people, and probably because we tend to see the Jewish people as being more peaceful than others, and the way in which they have been, over the centuries, been victimised. But once again, we have a people that have moved thousands of years ago up to the Chinese area, the Mongolian border area, and they've kept up their traditions and customs. The governor, one of the governors of the area, who is Hui, who's a Muslim, he quite clearly and categorically comes out and says that he is an atheist. So it seems strange that you can have an atheist Muslim. It's strange that you can have so-called atheist Christians. But you know that Dr. Dawson, or Dawkins, whatever his name is, by those living in other places, they see him as a Christian, but he's an atheist because he comes from a Western society. And so it's often difficult to meld or to distinguish the difference between cultural and religious. This guy's an atheist, but he still goes to the temple and does all the ceremonies as everybody else because it's part of his tradition. That area there that has a population, or the Hui people in particular, about 20 million. 20 million people, it's the size of the population of Australia. They probably have about 10 Christians in that whole population. They are a targeted, specific group that needs to know the Lord. And that's why it's a strategic place to work. Thanks. That's not real clear, but where we went to, if I can show you, up there, I'll put my glasses on so I can see it. That made no difference. But up there is the Northern National University, BAFAN, meaning Northern Peoples. It's on that block there. There down here is the main CBD and shopping centre. From there to there is 10 kilometres. So that's the size of the whole city that hosts 2 million people, 10 kilometres. From one end of it to the other, and that basically becomes another river, and then on the other side is the airport. From there to there, the whole, it's more lineal that way than that way, because it's bounded by the mountains and things, 10 kilometres. So you've got a city that's basically length to breadth, 10 kilometres, that contains 2 million people. When you look, you walk around up here, and you walk around a block like that, well, you'd have thousands of people just living in a block like that. So it's incredible. It's a beautiful city, and we'll show you some pictures of it. But that's what it was like, and it's a 40-minute bus ride to go from there to there. Mainly because the buses and the traffic is travelling about 40 kilometres an hour, but when you catch the bus, all right? Okay, next slide, thanks. This is the team. That gorgeous young one, I think you recognise.
Len.
That's Rema, who is the team leader, and Bay, his wife. They're from India, and part of the tradition of the people that were led to the Lord by William Carey and his work. So they're, the first missionaries. Their heritage comes back from the people in the town, and they've come across the Australian Baptist Missionary Society and the Indian Missionary Society work hand in glove, and they're the leaders, and they are absolute wonderful people with a real heart for the Lord. That's Don and Gail. They're from Victoria. People who went around, just let you know. They're from Victoria. They have an absolute heart for the Lord. Don was a science school teacher, a wonderful person. So much so that when Gail and Sue got together, they discovered that probably Don and I were two peas in a pod. There's never been a person that has so many similarities and likes and things as he and I do. They're due to come back home at the end of next month, and they'll probably stay home for a couple of years and may go back, but they've got a real heart. Lucy is from Western Australia. She's been there probably, not 20 years, but she said she wants to die there, and she just has an absolute passion for the young Chinese people. This is Clive, he's from Queensland. He's what I call a maverick. Clive is the one who, perhaps like in the old Western movies, was the scout that went out ahead, and he gets out amongst the people and he gets the real intelligence about what's happening in that area. And he's the one that's been able to get into some of these outlying communities and found out that, and I'll say it quietly, that because of the Muslim heritage and culture, you can divorce a wife just by going, I divorce you, I divorce you, I divorce you. And the moment that happens, or you're a widow, you suddenly become fair game for every other young buck or old buck in the village. And they are just so downtrodden, the women, particularly the widows and the divorced, that the Chinese government wants someone to do something about it on a human level. We want to do something about it on a spiritual level. And he is just a wonderful man of God. Next. This is the university. As you can see, clock tower and everything else on the street. No different to really going to Macquarie University and some of the other universities, much the same. Next. Next one, thanks. That's the university. The Helen Mountain is famous for its rock, and so they have it, and also the writings. There is writings and what's known as petroglyphs on the rock art, and when we looked at it, it's very similar to the Australian Aboriginal stuff. So there is a relationship, a correlation between that area and Australian peoples. But as you can see, it's a beautiful little University. Next, this here, it says canteen. It's the canteen. It's where we have our meals. 75 cents for a beautiful 3-course Chinese meal. That there is there to keep the cold out. It's not, you know, and they've got one there, and then they've got inside it so that you can walk in and out the flat when it gets cold. And as you can see, most of the students have bikes, and or like us, you walk. But that's the canteen, and that canteen is halal, and we go to that because we don't want to offend anybody. We want to be able to talk to any of the students, particularly the way people. Next, that's a little room off our main bedroom, which doubles as our wardrobe sort of thing, and our drying room for the laundry. And it's good. Next, that's the view. That's the view from our window. And there's the Helen Mountains, you know, the border of Mongolia. Buildings going on here. In January, in December, just before or around Christmas, they started doing some geotech. We didn't know what they were. Surveys in this area just outside the front of our window. We thought they were putting some taps in for some water. I got told 4 weeks ago that area there is now full of that. In a matter since I left in January. Wow. And that's accommodation for the teachers. Okay, next. And that's just also looking out. These here looks like dirt. Well, it is dirt, but they've got doors in them, and that's where they grow some of their vegetables and stuff in winter. Okay, and that's just a new city, a new town, a new village that's part of the one. And they're all 5-story walk-ups. I lost a lot of weight over there. I put it back on since I come in. Come back, but yeah, that's what it's like. And it's just, you know, you'd have 4, on average 4, maybe. Well, let's just go on 2 people per room. You know, you do the math. In a normal block, street where, you know, Buttery Street or something, you just do a normal block, you'd have 20,000 people living there. But you don't see them. It's incredible. Next. That's looking up. Our apartments are there, but they're very similar to those apartments there. And as you can see, just like any normal flat in the middle of Sydney, Botany or whatever it is. And they're quiet, they're good, they're comfortable. Next. And that's looking out of our window at the university buildings and rooms, the teaching rooms. Next. And remember, I think there's 10,000 students at the uni. This is looking out at the first snow from our windows. Next, this is some of the students. Next, more of the students. Next, more of the students. Next, a student who we were able to give a Bible to. She's the girl who was abandoned as a baby. Taken in by a 50-year-old couple who already had 2 boys in their 20s. She's the first girl from her whole village to come to university. Her parents, she's the one whereby we were able to give her, she texted a message and said, Happy Christmas. So we wrote back and said, Happy Christmas to you, and may you find the true meaning of Christmas. She wrote a text back and said, I do know the true meaning of Christmas. I read my Bible when I can. We got her over and had a chat to her. She says, I try to borrow my Bible from the library when I can. And so we were able to give her a Bible, and she was so thrilled to be able to, she could take it home to where she came from, to her village. And she said, my parents will be so pleased that I can read them the Bible. And we said, we'll give you one. Would your parents like a Bible as well? She said, no. I said, well, why not? She said, because they're blind and can't read. She just wants me to read it. You know, we wonder where we fit into the family of God. We wonder where we are. We're talking 40 people in this room, 45 people in this room, and the millions in the other place. And we can often look and say, where are we going? We just, you know, what are we doing as a church? Are we just navel-gazing or whatever? You know, we do not know what we have done. You see, the church supported us and prayed for us to go over to China, and we have been I want to know what's going to happen out of this. Instrumental in giving the first girl that has ever gone to university from her village a Bible that's going back to her village with a Bible, not just that's been deposited in her village, but someone will be reading and explaining the Bible to that village. What have we done? Oh, we've done nothing. Sorry. We have done a lot. We just don't know where we fit in God's kingdom. All we have to do is be obedient, and the rest falls into place. And sometimes what we do, we don't know why we're doing it. But God does, and that's what's important. So we should never get dejected about what happens with us, where we are. We look at our numbers, and we look at this, or we look at the exciting things going on elsewhere. That was the greatest joy that I've ever seen. When a 22-year-old gets a Bible and dances around like Jonathan does, as if it was Christmas, is just incredible. The joy and the look on her face. Next, and Frank. He got a scholarship, $150 Australian dollars. $150 Australian dollars. And I said to him, now you've got this, what are you going to do with it? I thought he'd buy a computer or something like that. He said, well, at least now I might be able to have 3 meals a day, every day. You come across in that snow without gloves. And we said, where's your gloves? He said, I don't know. We just gave him ours. You know, our battered old things. You know, your heart just goes out. You know, we love the Lord. And we worry about what we're going to get out of every Sunday. Whether the music's any good, whether the preaching's any good, whether the leading's any good, or whether or not I've got a bit of a cold, whether I should come today or whatever, or I'm stubbing my toe. You know, when you look at the real need and the real hunger and the real thirst, we really are kidding ourselves. You know, and he gave me a book. And I was able to give him a Bible. The book he gave me was about one of the first missionaries in China. And it was just a tremendous book. He, I believe, will be a leader in China one day. He'll probably, you know, he could be, like in the Communist Party, he could be, you know, the deputy president. This guy's got the brains and the skills. These people know 3 languages. 3 languages apart from their own Chinese. They're going to be the leaders of the world. You know, as I say to people, you know, we might speak English. When you get to heaven, you better know Chinese. There are more Christians in China than there is the population of Australians. Next. This is the secretary of the Communist Party, the local branch. There's one attached to every university. We sort of became good friends. I don't know what he said much, but he didn't know what I said much. But we had a mutual respect. I think that'll go really well on the next election poster. Okay. Here's a lovely one. Next. This is a concert the students put on. And I had the privilege of being one of the judges. Knew nothing. Next. China's Got Talent. Yeah, okay. Next. And this are some of the students who were taking part. That's the secretary of the Communist Party. She's the leader of the English department there. That's a Japanese teacher. And it was interesting when they had to put on another concert, they put one on about Moses and the bulrushes. It's incredible. So, you know, you can't proselytise, but they want to know that. And that's Don, who was also a judge with me. This gentleman over here, and me, we're having a good laugh. You think that we could understand each other. He's Japanese, I'm English. He doesn't know a word I'm saying, I don't know a word he's saying. But we know when something's funny. I think he was laughing at me, to be honest. Okay, they're just some of the students. Next. This is that main part of, you know, the centre where all the buses pull up, and that's the sort of the code. That's the south gate. They had walls around them, that's the south gate. Down there. Look at the towers that go up. The housing, just so quickly. Time's running out. My wife's giving me the signal. Next. This is down the street, shopping. Roasted chestnuts or whatever it is. Next. This is the fruit and veg market. You know, terrific tucker. We didn't buy there. Next. Where's Ron Davies when you need him? People took us down, thought we'd be horrified to see meat like that, but I said, I'm from a farm in Australia, we've killed our own, that's it. And I don't know why, but this picture just reminds me of David Bowie. And I think it's something to do with someone up the ladder or something. I don't know. Just, every time I see it, I think of David Bowie. Next, that's, you know, they're the shopping centre areas, but out there they still have the stalls with just about get anything you want. Next, this is the night markets, a bit cold, but it's good. Next, the main street, you know, somewhere down around about there's, what was it, Kentucky Fried Chicken? Was it? Yeah, and where you could get a beautiful cup of coffee. Hot chocolate. That's it. Next, more of the night stuff. But as you can see, they're so backward, these people, they even got mobile phones. But look at the lights. There's probably more electricity burnt one night in Yinchuan than there is in all of Two Gardens. Next, and that's some of the modern buildings and things, and that's a club, like the Shanghai Club, whatever it is. I think it's a gambling club. And there's the buses, lots of that public transport. Next, they're the rage, they're the norm. The old man sits in there, the groceries and the old woman goes in the back, and they're all happy. If they do, they never learn anything about it, I tell you. Next, this is inside one of the government churches. It really is no different to us, except that this is just before the service starts. I thought, oh gee, they don't have too many, much more than we have. But by the time they got up and started, it was 800 people in there. Next, they're handing out communion. They do it all the same as us. Next, and that's the outside of the church. Nothing flash, nothing elaborate. There's the cross to let you know it's a church. Next, we're out in the Mongolian border in the snow. That's the Mongolian border, the mountains. Next, that's part of the wall. It's probably the oldest part of the wall, 600 years old. I've actually got a rock from in there somewhere. That's the snow. Next one. That's more of the wall, a bit fallen down, a bit out of earth. Next, that's just what it looks like, the Mongolian desert. Just, you know, it's just like that. Look at moonscape, really. Next. There's the wall on top, and they did that and across the top of the things and filled in the ridges and the gaps. Next. That's us on top. That's with a scarf, not a beard. Next. And the story so far, what we're on about. There was an effort to establish a language and cultural centre in another city. It didn't, Xi'an. It didn't work out. It's a much bigger city. Why? Because there were lots of Christians, ethnic Christians in there, working amongst the people, and it was strategically agreed at the Lausanne Evangelism Conference that we would all try and work on unreached people groups. So you've got 20 million Pai people living up in the north, not being reached. And so things, you know, a lot of workers, Christian workers, a lot of in Xi'an, but they decided, an offer came to go to Yinchuan, so they went to Yinchuan and began to explore the possibilities. Well, the doors had just been opened in Yinchuan, unbelievably so. They go to the Foreign Expert Bureau, and they're begging us to come in. You know, it's different. It's just so different. There's no barriers in the way. But come on, can you give us 20, 30, 40, 50 people? He said, no, we've got to train them. Next. So we're wanting to establish a language and educational cultural centre. We've got the teachers teaching at the universities. We can do more. But out of this centre, we want to have employment for locals. Teaching English, local handicrafts, culture, language, coffee shop, gift shop, library, whatever. Next, that sort of tells us what some of the things we want. One of the things that we want to do is, I'll talk to that next. We're now looking for premises somewhere suitable, similar to this, for to hold our centre. Next, let's have a look at some of the things. This is what it's like. The shopping there. But we need a business. To establish there, the government says you need to be a business that makes legitimate profits. So we figure we can bring people over on short-term visits. They can pay, like a holiday. The money comes in and it becomes money-making. We employ people and so on. And each one is the biggest one to start with, where we will get a centre to allow us to get credibility. And it'll be brand building the reputation. Next, we need more partners to pray and support the project. Next, and the first local worker we hope to employ August this year, and the application, all that stuff will go on. Next, these are the local worker. He's a lay person, a Muslim, and he's a believer. He come back and he wanted to do something, and his skills and things just fell in with what I wanted to do at the centre. He's married, that's her. The interesting thing is, she's a dentist. She's just finished completing her dental degree. She now has to establish a business. So we're sort of saying, let us establish the business, employ her as the main dentist. She will then be able to go out with some of our other workers to the smaller areas and regions. Remember where those women are that we're talking about? Look at their teeth, be able to counsel them, maybe empower them, and we can break that nexus of sexual harassment and stuff. So the Lord is doing mighty things, and to have 2 Christian local believers coming on board is fantastic. Next, and we're hoping to be able, after we establish the Inchwan Centre, to target the community and enable our workers to go out and live amongst the people. It's fabulous. Next, and imagine a town like this with the, what do you call those things that they have? Mosque things, stuff, citadels. Next, and they're like this, amongst those people. You don't see much English there at all. Next, that's the mountains in the background of Mongolia. This is just what a little village. Next, that's what it's like. Next, and that's this rural side with a few farms and terraced, how they do look after their sheep. You want to get out to these people who could walk for miles and not see another Christian. Next. And so, but one day in the future we hope to go to these hard to access places with branches of the LEC Centre in His strength and enablement, so that we may empower communities to develop their own distinctive ways of following Jesus. Now, the cost of that centre will be $100,000 for the next 5 years, which will enable to be able to employ people. Now, what I'm hoping to do is to help try and raise that $100,000. When I go to the churches, I go to them and say, maybe someone there, maybe the church, get 20 churches, 20 groups, 20 organisations, raise $5,000 each, the job's done. But many people don't have $5,000, don't even have $1,000, have 100. Well, even that can be used, and there is a way of doing it. And you get it tax deductible gifts, and Sue and I have put together a handout, trying to chat, that talks about what's going on and how you can donate towards the work. And it may be something this church wants to get behind, but that's up to the church or as individuals. So we'll have those at the back. Take one if you'd like one, and just to read about it, and you can donate online or whatever it is, or if you want to build this project, follow what it says there, just drop it in the offering box and we'll make sure it gets to the right way. But put your name there because you get a receipt and so on. Look, what started with William Carey and people of the church saying to him, if the heathen God wants the heathen to be saved, he'll do it himself. He doesn't need our help. Well, that's not how God made us. God made us to go into all the world and preach the gospel. Why? Because he loves people. He loves you, he loves me, and he said, go. Now, sometimes we can't physically go, but we can pray, we can spread the word, and we can support financially. When we look at our church and how little we are and what we can do, we will be very surprised at what we've done already, because each and every one of us love the Lord, and we want to be obedient to him. Shall we pray? Dear Lord God, Heavenly Father, we just say thank you, Lord, that men and women like William Carey and the 5 barley loaves took you at your word and went. We thank you, Lord, that people are responding to your love and your gospel. Help us, Lord, to be involved so that your kingdom will come on this earth as it is in heaven. This we ask in Jesus' blessed name.